Greetings, family. Welcome to the Grand Rising Collective. My name is Kyle Dixon, co-host, educator, and entrepreneur for 20 years. Grand Rising Collective's here is to cultivate greatness in ourselves and our community.
And my name is Kaide Bentley, co-host, educator, and entrepreneur for over 20 plus years. My contribution to Grand Rising Collective is to help cultivate that greatness in ourselves and the community through impactful discussions, seminars, and webinars with my co-host, Kyle Dixon. Because this is so important, and we're having the same conversation over and over again, and I think it needs to be said. So thank you, Ms. Hazel, for bringing truth to our conversations and, bringing truth to power. Because the more conversations we have on this, the more we get it out there, the more we can fix what's going on. And Kyle knows I'm about tangibles and fixing. In line with what we just said, why is it important to tell our stories, right? As well as the politics of the media industry. You said that young lady in the Hate You Give was right across town. She didn't need a plane to drive over to your school, right? She didn't.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. I would have went and got it. My little car would have went over there. But now, what I did do, I got a Black principal. I said, I got tickets from people.
Okay.
And I said, I went to a Black principal. I said, can you get some students there? And he got students there.
Oh, okay.
I just think about the impact that could have had.
Yes.
And then I would just like to, when I go to a Black business, say, hey, look, why don't you help me bring this person here? She's going to pay that much money for her. So but this is her work. This is what she charges. I mean, you pay that much for, you pay good money for whatever it is. You want to put the best alcohol in front of me or the best whatever. We want to put the best minds in front of so we can nurture our kids, so they can do what they need to do.
Go ahead, Miss Hazel. She's speaking on the cow. She's speaking. You can pay all this money for all this nonsense, right? That not having an impact. But when it comes to something that really has an impact on our generation, and all of a sudden now it's politics. All of a sudden now it's
So to get back to your question.
Yes, Miss Hazel.
Yeah, refresh me.
It was. Why is it? I think this is. Please share your input on why you think it's important to tell our stories, as well as the politics in the media industry, which prevents us from telling our stories.
Listen, this is the reason I'm in this film business. It's important to tell our story because nobody else is going to tell it. And if the telling is going to be distorted, it's going to be a lie. Your image will not look like you.
Tell it. Tell it.
So
okay.
This is the reason. That's part of our mission. We have to tell a story in our own voice. In our own voice, authentic stories. So we can tell all the truth. And the part that I have a teacher that's a friend, and she was speaking about the Pope, and the little boy was Catholic, and he was offended, right?
Okay.
So they both had, the teacher and the little boy had to go before the principal. And so the teacher told her side, and the little boy told his side. And the principal said, is that the way it was? And the little boy said, she's not telling it all. She's not telling it all. So, don't expect that everybody is going to tell all of it. Because in the story, you're in the story somewhere, you or somebody that looks like you or somebody, that side has to be told. And there's a African proverb that says, it's about the lion, if I can remember it. Until the lion tells his story, the hunter will always be the victor. The lion, he's got to speak so you can know both sides, All you see is the foot on the neck of the lion. We don't know how bravely the lion fought. We don't know how far he had to run and what maneuvers he used to get away for as long as he did, away from the hunter. The hunted and the hunter have to tell their parts of the story for you to know all sides and to understand what actually happened.
Teach.
Right?
I'm sorry, let me say that.
Yeah, just think about it. I just love it. And I wish we'd get to this part. I just love it that the Jewish community tells their side of the story.
Yes,
they tell their side of the story. And they don't say, we don't want to hear or see another thing about Holocaust, and we don't want to see another thing happening. Was it you, Kyle, that was telling me about that there are 42 movies on an average made every year on about the Jewish.
I think history. I may have mentioned that, but I have seen that as well. Yeah.
Right. And so, but when we do stories, people want us to keep up with some things, and you may not know where your place is unless you know your history and where your place and what you contributed to what people are saying are writing now. There may be a strand of some of that belongs to you, to your ancestors, and that may be distorted. So, you got to know your full history and who you are and how you were shaped to get to the point where we don't support each other. My sister is always telling me, she said, Hazel, you need to read Blassingame. James Wesley Blassingame talks about how we were shaped in the yard and the houses of the master. You got to read Blassingame.
Oh man!
Is that a book? Is that a book, Miss Hazel?
Yes, James Blassingame was a sociologist, and he taught at Yale. He was the head of the African American Studies Department. A brilliant man.
How do you spell his last name? Blassing, B-A-L-A-S?
Blassingame. Blass, B-L-A-S-S-A-I-N-G-G-A-M-E. Blassingame. James W. Blassingame.
Gotcha. Thank you. So before we go any further, Ms. Hazel, we passed the hour.
I know.
Is it okay? Do you have like a few more minutes? Hopefully.
I'm here with you guys.
All right.
See, please, people don't usually give me the opportunity to talk like this. Nobody but my sister.
That's what we do. That's how we operate. Yes, go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I just had to ask that question because we have a lot more stuff we want to learn from you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh yeah. Well, I was finished with that statement, but there are so many things that we have to begin to tell. Like the significance of why women have to wear hair pieces. Wear scarves. There were rules on the books in parts of Virginia where women had to wear a scarf or something on their head so that they could be identified from white women, because you had so many people back during that time, because of plantation areas there, that there were areas where they bred us, and so sometimes you may not be able to tell if it was a Black woman or a white woman, right? So women were women that were very fair. Mulatto women had to wear things to cover their head so that a soldier or some visitor would understand who he's approaching when he saw beauty walking.
Okay. Wow.
There are things, that were taught, and it was just carried through from one generation to another, and how you act, what you do, what it is that you don't do, nuances. How do we get these nuances, you know?
Yes.
How do we know certain things? And even when people don't tell you what they mean, but they say something and you know the exact meaning of that. You know, it hits your soul, it cuts into you. You know, and you know, when you see people, you know, and you know it's a racist behavior or attitude, a word that's being said or an intent. So, you know, and we've got to be able to articulate what we see and what we hear.
I'm throwing these other questions. So, and that's one of the things Cal and I talked about in regards to being able to articulate what we see, what we hear. And it's, I would say, very, I don't know the word to use, but intertwined with the how we feel. Because we know this stuff out here. We see the blatancy of it. But because we're so connected to it, because it hurts us and it's so personal to us, when we try and articulate it, it comes out soaked in emotion. It comes out, and that's where that whole thing of.
I like that, soaked in emotion. Right?
To your point, Ms. Hazel, you're absolutely right. We have to learn. I don't know.
Yeah, we have to learn how to be. You know, our emotional vocabulary has to expand. You know, there's more emotions than being sad, mad, and glad. You know, like that.
Well, that is true. So I started off, you know, and it wasn't my intent. I just put together some for teachers. I worked with the North Carolina Teachers Association. And so many teachers didn't know what to teach during Black History Month or all during the year, or however they wanted to do it. So I started researching and putting things together, so they had me doing workshops, right? So I had to get myself under control
I know.
because I would, like you said, get soaked in emotion, right? And I was in the community. I was a part of the Arts Association that was predominantly white. So, boy, did I ever get soaked, and I got set up many times. And I didn't know I was being set up. I thought people were telling the truth, but they were not. They were not. You got to know how to walk into some of these things, and you know, when things are not on the up and up, you got to be able to handle and rally. If you're going to rally, you got to have to know how to rally. So I went to this workshop in Raleigh, and there were these two Black women leading this workshop on how to learning about how to deal with racism. It was my first workshop that I took on awareness of racism and what it does to you. And it's like I was in a brand new world. Because they opened up and gave me the language on how to address things, and also gave me an awareness of me and what was happening and how I got hooked into things that were detrimental all the way around. That was the best time that I've had in learning. So I worked with them for 20 years. It's an organization called Visions.
All right.
And let me tell you, they taught me, these were two sisters from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And they both went to the University of North Carolina. One is an attorney, and now she's a state representative, I think. Okay. And the other one is a clinical psychologist. And so they took what happened to them at the University of North Carolina and put together a tool to help you become aware of you and those around you, aware of everything, the politics, the policies, racism at the individual level, at the institutional level, at the cultural level, all those levels, and how it has impacted us, and taught you what you were seeing and also how to respond to it and what your experiences are. And what I'll never forget, Dr. Batts, Dr. Valerie Batts is her name. She'd ask the question, what's coming up for you right now, Hazel? You know, and I'd say, well, I'm angry. What are you angry about? Because if you're going to teach someone else about racism and how it impacts us, you got to know you.
Yes.
You can't do this kind of work. When I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I do training in racial awareness and all of this stuff, I'm very, very, very skeptical.
Yeah, I'm critical too.
And the program that is used, and I'm not saying that people don't have useful programs out there. It's to what depth do you go, and what is the end results, because we don't want to send anybody out on the street bleeding. Because it can be very, 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 very damaging. You know, because you haven't addressed your issues first. And you got to know and look at how racism has impacted you. And so when you walk into a room, and I've walked into some rooms where you're doing the training, you're the only one looking like you. And you're going to talk to people about, really what you're talking about is all of their history. Their grandma, and aunts and uncles and all of that stuff. Oh, are you ready?
Hold that mirror up. Like,
yeah. So it's you have to really be, I think, trained. So as a clinical psychologist and attorneys, that's who I worked with. That's the people that are in visions. It was a real learning, but you have to stay in training always, because you're evolving, peeling that onion over and over again.
Thank you, Miss Hazel.
Yeah.
Very good. Oh, man. I get it, Cal. Go ahead, brother.
No, you got but I'm just saying thank you for sharing that, because these are the layers that we have, and you have a company and organizations that you're a part of, many different circles of influence. People think that someone as yourself, a businesswoman, entrepreneur, a leader, in the community, that it just happens by happenstance. It's like, it's the work. You put in many hours of work and dedication and thought and planning behind these things. And but one thing I keep hearing from you, and that me and Kai, that I know you're about, but that the family now is exposed to you more, is community.
Right. But most people won't let me be a leader in the community.
Why? Why do you think?
I have these experiences. I have these experiences, and I shed a different light.
Uncomfortable light? Is it uncomfortable?
Maybe for some of them. And I'm an older person. People start right away. They don't want to hear. And even my daughter said, Mom, we may have to put somebody else out front. They don't mean any harm. We just reality. And I'm working with a young lady that is a big executive at Sony Music.
Yeah.
And she said, Miss Hazel, you're going to have to young it up.
What that mean?
Young it up. Yeah. Well, which is okay with me. I understand. I've got to make sure that's balance,
True.
you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we got to bring in young people, put young people in front, but I just want to make sure they're prepared.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel some type of way about that, Miss Hazel. I you know, personally, you know, I just
okay.
Because I get what the exec is saying and playing that, you know, the marketing thing, but I think that's one of the problems. I think that's one of the real problems in our community, that we've taken on these attributes of younging it up, and it's just like, where's that getting us? Like, you have the experience, you have that, and I'm not saying that young people shouldn't be in front, but like you said, are they prepared? Because if you're just putting somebody in front just to look good and maybe say a few buzzwords, that's not going to suffice long term. That may be important for the short term, you know, for the immediate, but that's not going to really get us anywhere. I believe, you know,
Right.
that's not going to establish something that's going to be for generational, you know, impact.
So,
you know,
real quick to interject, to complement what Cal is saying, Ms. Hazel, HBCU, is this why, in your opinion, is this why it's imperative that HBCUs be involved in the process of media representation? And not just media representation, but just being able to prepare these young people for a climate such as that? So yeah, we got to young it up, quote unquote, and put them out there, but is HBCU an important, imperative aspect of preparing them, so that way when we do put them out there, they can continue this fight on for progress in dismantling this whole system that exists?
Well, it depends on where the HBCU wants to go, you know. And I think that for instance, we have a lot of kids that are pulled into internships,
Okay.
you know, and programs, but they don't do well because they don't know the soft culture, you know, have that the skill of understanding that you're walking into a professional corporate arena, and how to carry yourself, and to understand that that's culture that wasn't built around the culture that you're familiar with, maybe. And so how do you handle that? How do you have staying power and power that's going to help you to grow through the organization? So sometimes it's just teach the hard curriculum part, but some of those other things, those soft skills, you know, they may not have had the opportunity to teach, or it's harder. And so we have a vigorous internship program, you know, where we are trying to make sure that our young people are ready, because some of the work is furious, it's hard, it's fast and furious. And, you know, people really don't have time to teach you that, you know, to ask how many cubes of sugar you wanted in the coffee before, you know, you bring it to me and you've loaded it with 10 cubes of sugar, you know, and all of that. So, you know, there are all kinds of small things that you know, just, you know, just a lot of things that we have to work with. And you know, but I think we're in a sweet spot.
Okay.
I think so too.
What do you mean?
I think that we're in a beautiful place to begin to say who we are, what we want. There's a professor here and the president of American Baptist College that I've worked with a lot of his professors, and this is one thing that he started doing with, this is where John Lewis went to school, with getting grants. I heard that he has said to some of the people with the grants, we are writing for the grant money, not for you to tell us how to spend it. We know what to do and where to put our money. And that's the kind of attitude that I think that is going to penetrate.
Okay.
And when you take hold, and when you take your position and stand on that position, it's the money we need.
Yeah.
And you know because you withheld it. So therefore, give us the resources and then watch us grow and watch us get our students ready, because we know, we can compete.
Yes.
So I work with, Kyle at FIS, there's a rocket club.
A what club?
A rocket like a rocket ship.
Yes.
And it's run by what's his name? By the head of the physics department. I think of his name in just a moment. And what he does is he established this rocket club, and they compete with the top universities around the country.
Okay.
Right. And they don't have to be in this hard sciences. They can be students, psychology, music, whatever. They all come over, and they build a rocket that competes with people like MIT, the people in Alabama and Florida, all the top universities. And guess who wins?
Not surprised. I'm
yes.
not surprised. Not surprised.
They win.
I'm not surprised.
As Dr. Kent Wallace. Dr. Kent Wallace is doing he's doing an excellent job. And sometimes I'd like for you all to interview him. He does great work.
Okay.
With taking those students and show them how they can transfer the knowledge, no matter what field they're in, what the genre is, over into propel a rocket. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Sounds like the great debaters, Denzel Washington.
right. Hey, HBCU too.
Not a surprise, bro. Not a surprise.
We produce the best. I'm biased on that. I'll stand on that forever. Yeah.
Yes. We're gonna switch gears just a bit. Not even that much a switch, but we want to get your take on a range of topics, Ms. Hazel, and one of which is a current event that's taking place today, and it's the movie Woman King, the Woman King film controversy. Are you aware of that movie?
Oh yes, the director is a good friend of mine, Gina Bythewood.
Okay.
She's a good friend. I work with her and her husband, Reggie Bythewood, who's from
dynamic duo, man.
Yeah, and they are writers, directors, producers, you name it. They're excellent.
The basketball family. If you ever seen Love and Basketball, that's them.
Yeah. Basketball, and their sons play baseball too. So they've been supporters of IBFF, and we've had them here several times here in Nashville. So yes, I'm familiar with the movie the whole time Gina was, directing that movie, and her going to South Africa, and all of that. But I have not kept up. I hear that there's some controversy kicking up around here and there, and I haven't caught up with that yet because I've been busy preparing for the festival.
Got you. So neither of us either. So I guess it's in terms of we're going to just go to some people feel like I did some research on it's speaking on the Dahomey tribe, in which I believe the actors represented, and how this tribe sold slaves and they were working in conjunction with the colonizers. But
enslaved, we'll say enslaved. Correct.
Enslaved, got you. Enslaved. But I think the overall premise that has riled up concern and resistance is just in terms of what we've been experiencing over all these years, and that's Black power. What do you call it? Black power, Black exploitation? Have you put it, Cal?
Black exploitation, Black exploitation.
Films, pro encounters. Do you believe those type of movies What are your pros and cons on those type of movies? Do you think they are a benefit to the community, or not a benefit to us as a community? These so-called.
It's a definite benefit. And I'm going to talk from experience of what I've had. So when the movie on Nat Turner came out,
yes,
with Nate Parker,
yes,
film festivals wouldn't show it and theaters wouldn't show it, but Hazel did. I showed it at Belmont University as a part of the film festival.
Okay.
And it was interesting that the Black Student Association boycotted me. They wouldn't come and participate. And so a movie that should have been packed out, people did not really support. But I know Nate very well, and I love Nate and I love his work. I was at Sundance when he got that $17 million, the highest price ever paid for a movie. Don't you know the groundbreaking work that he has done needs to be celebrated? You know, and what somebody that upset some system somewhere. And we knew what that was about. That was you upset somebody in a high position, and your movie was going to get high ratings that was going to knock somebody else out of being considered for an Academy Award.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but, and I told the students, a majority of the students that watched that movie with me at Belmont were white. They did not leave. They sat there, they cried. They wouldn't let me leave. They asked so many questions because they too don't know the story.
Right.
And for some of the Black kids, and I said, so what do you know about Nat Turner? I said, you don't know, do you? When you gonna learn?
Good question.
So I said, so come and watch this movie so you can understand what is said, what the history is, and find out the truth. Do your own research, do your own work. So the first time I believe that people are ever going to hear about the Dahomey tribe is because Gina and Viola made this movie. So they're going to learn something.
All right. Oh, I like that.
They did not know. What did you know about Dahomey?
What?
You didn't know, you know, and what about this tribe? So the other thing so we used to get this thrown to us all of the time when we do workshops with Dr. Wimbush. I really want to call Ray and Dr. Wimbush and ask him, because he said this, and I've heard him say this many times. It was less than 1% of the enslaved that came from other slaves, you know, from other tribes. It was not that large a percent, but I'm hearing people talking about 30, 40, 50%. Well, who does it benefit to tell all of this to? So, right. And so I look at this in a very whatever way. So what if this is the grain of truth in the meal? You know, so what? People get corrupt by the thought of more power. These were warring tribes that understand the political system that was set up during the time and day. And if somebody rolled by your house, even though let's say drive-bys are going through, and they'll say, hey, look, we'll give you $50,000 every week if you do so and so and so and so. How would you address that issue if you were dealing, if you want to stay in what? If you want to have power and freedom of not being able, I'm going to have to, excuse me, something going on with the battery.
Okay.
With my, so,
Indeed.
Hold just a moment.
No,
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
they were influenced by money and the possibility of more power.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just take a look at that. I would just look at, so if somebody offered me the opportunity to be, the king of whatever, and they paid me a large amount of money and said that you're going to be in whatever, and these are new and strange people, a new group coming into the community, what would you do?
Yeah. Indeed.
No,
I did. No, but that's it, and that's why it's important, that we talk to Ms. Hazel's, because it's not just enough, family. It's not just enough for us to say that these enslaved Africans or these Africans are brothers and sisters who participate in the slave trade. There are people participating in exploitation right now.
Right.
Well, for instance, look at anybody that joins that some of these record companies and these deals that people get, and look at what happens if drugs come into your community.
Oof.
Yes. Yes. People are not looking at it in a proper context. They're looking at it just like this happened and that's it. It's like it's more to it. It's more nuanced than that. Not to say that we should absolve it. It's just to say that it's more nuanced than what you're talking about or what you're trying to, I guess, expose. It's like,
right. And you're not looking at what the bravery of this mother and this daughter and what they did, and then somewhere somebody said no to something in that tribe. Somewhere.
Somewhere.
And that's no different of somebody come in the community, like I said, and they want to dump a whole lot of guns or something, and somebody's going to say yes, and somebody's going to say no. Did Martin and Nkrumah, not Nkrumah, but did Martin Luther King and what's his name agree on everything? No, they did not.
Abernathy or
not Abernathy, but the guy that moved to Africa.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah. No, not Kwame Nkrumah.
Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture.
Stokely Carmichael, right.
Yeah.
So, you think about those kinds of things. And so because so many of us have lost our voice, and we don't say yay or nay, we just let it slide on in. Okay, so I don't throw and so this is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So here you've got a story that you've never seen, you never heard of before, that that illuminates the bravery of a tribe.
And it's interesting that the term boycott was mentioned, because boycott means not even giving yourself the opportunity to see what it is in order to make a decision about what it is, in order to take that information. So, and that ties into what you were saying, Ms. Hazel.
It says the same thing they did to Nate's movie, the Nat Turner story. The very same thing. And so the opportunity to learn. So let's we all, I think we've been frightened away from the truth. And so what until we get to the place that we can hear the part of the story where we may have participated or been complicit in some kind of way, we're going to not ever get out of pain and being taken advantage of. So you can say whether the advantage you took of me or my people or culture or whatever, you got to be able to say what advantage you took. Nice. You got to be able to put your finger on the advantage. Who did it benefit?
Yeah.
Hazel. And see, family, that's why it's important to talk to leaders and people who are trailblazers such as Miss Hazel, because they're in these different circles. They live life, they experience things, they can give us perspective on an argument, and I mean, she's 35 years old, but she acts like an elder, you know what I mean? So, what I'm saying? So it's that too, you know what I mean? But no, I'm just grateful to have you on, Ms. Hazel. And I just want to ask like one question just in regards to that, because a lot of this is because of technology, right? So people are able to give their opinions on everything, what you're eating, what you're doing, what you're saying, because of this, what they call democratization of technology.
Right.
So one of my last questions, because we don't hold you too long, is like, how has that affected your work, positive, negative, with the film festival and just us getting out our own stories in general? And I think I alluded to it earlier too, but how's that affected?
Well, you know what I was just saying to my sister just yesterday. I want to bring more things to the people and look at how we can take a positive advantage of how technology is going to be more and more in our lives on a day-to-day basis. For instance, there is this one doctor who teaches clean eating and cooking, cooking and eating food. Well, next year, I've already invited him to come, and for 4 days, he's going to do master classes on that. And I want to put that in front of the people. He's heavy on the internet. He does some beautiful, beautiful work. And he talks about the things that keep us healthy, that keep us nurturing our bodies, and how you can be economic in how you eat and what you eat, what's good for you, and how much protein the body needs, and how it burns naturally the fat, the good fats, the bad fats, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to bring him here. Then there are two ladies that I'm looking at. I know you've seen her. There's a lady that is in, I think she's Memphis. She's 80 years old, but she has the body of a 30-year-old woman, and she did not start working out until she was in her 70s.
Wow.
And so she has a fabulous body, but boy, I'm bringing her here and having her to talk about some of the things that she's doing. And so, like, show and tell, remember what I told you? So we show it, tell it, see it. This is not fantasy, right. Even though the industry will use fantasy, to pull people in, but I want to show the reality of what can be and how you can be a part of it and what you can do for you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. All right. So, I'm sorry, for the sake of Hazel and your time is valuable, how can filmmakers contribute and submit their films? And that ties into them getting in contact with you and helping them along that path and that journey. Please share information.
So you can submit your films to www.IBFFevents.com.
Okay.
That's IBFFevents.com. If you go to the website and go to submitting your films, I think the submission for next year is already open. Okay. It's too late for this year because our films have been selected. And of course, the film festival is starting on the 28th, and it says the 29th, but we're doing a social justice segment on the Wednesday before. We have to 28th through the 2nd of October, which is that Sunday. And we'd love for people to come out. In the past, sometimes we've had over half of our films to come from the New York area. Okay. And that helps to stimulate our filmmakers here in the South.
Okay.
Because filmmakers get to know one another, they collaborate.
Yes.
And then students who think they can't see students who can and are doing. So the networking is important, right?
No.
And then people sometimes come here and they stay, and we need the talent that they bring. And so, the submission is easy, and we'll work with you. If don't stop if you don't have the submission fee. Just give me a call. My number's on the website, and say, hey, Hazel, I'm a little short. What can you help me with? And we will help you. We work, our curator of films is Tana McDonald. Tana is from New York. And I've accepted a position as executive producer on a major film, and we have been fully funded, and we'll start shooting in February. And it's a true story, and it's a huge thing. And we've got A-list actors and directors and all of this. So I'm real excited. This is going deeper into the den.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah. So we're real excited. And we want to tell this story because this is a Black man who believed in another Black man and put up millions of dollars for him to make this movie. So we want to tell that story because it's not often told. We don't see or hear that. And not that it hasn't happened before, but, we want to show that, this can happen, and it's a way we can support each other.
And it should happen more, right?
More, right, exactly, right.
More. Yeah.
And so we're excited about this coming. Yeah.
February. All right.
All right. I know, right? Oof. Okay, family, you heard it here first. No, thank you for sharing that insider information and the information today, Ms. Hazel, because we know your time is very valuable. So we don't want to keep you too long. But family, we thank you for spending time with us on this Grand Rise Collective podcast episode. Please like, share, subscribe to our channel. We have more heavy hitters and people making moves such as Ms. Hazel Joyner Smith. Again, apply, and look up the IBFF, the International Black Film Festival based in Nashville, Tennessee. You can make it down. Please do at the end of this month. But again, Kaidi, do you have anything to share with the film before we get out of here?
Now, I already shared Ms. Hazel, just thank you so much. Like Cal said, like, share, subscribe to get more information out there to you. And one of the things I want to do highlight, is Ms. Hazel, I heard you mention that providing a spotlight for those of us who are doing work in the community. And I thank God for the technology today that we have now to be able to bring out our own voice and contribute to our own image, right? So you providing us this mechanism in which to use, and I want to encourage family, I want to encourage those of us in the community to take advantage of this technology. And one of the things that I appreciate with Kyle, myself, is that, and this guy is no joke, Kyle is amazing, is that we have the opportunity to bring you on to highlight you and the work that you're doing. So yes, just keep this momentum going and spread the word and get this information out of here, taking full advantage of the technology we have access to. That's all the thing I want to add to this. So Ms. Hazel, what I also want is please, your social media handles or ways people can contact you. Obviously, the International Black Film Festival is a way they can contact you. If you have any other social media handles or ways you would like for the community to reach you, please feel free to share that information right now. And then, we don't want to take up any more of your time. We just want to make sure they have it.
I say that so I don't have it in my head, but I will shoot it to you right away.
Okay.
So that you can but you can find me on Facebook, and you can find our information everywhere. So the other part of the story is that I work with my daughters. If you look at our website, my daughter does all of the design and the work. My youngest daughter, Ivy, and my middle daughter is a strategic person. She does all of our logistical work. So the family business, and it's also like part of our ministry as well. And so we work very hard, and we have funded most of this over all of these years, but it's getting harder to do that. So we're having to work hard to bring in corporations to sponsor and to support us. So There's a donate button on the website, but we also like for you to please submit your films. And it may be too late for you to come this year, but we'd love to see you next year. Plan to make a trip to Tennessee, and we'll guarantee that you'll have fun and you'll get a chance to see all the historical sites and be a part of what we're doing here in history, and it will also enrich those who come as well.
Sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful. So family, again, thank you, Miss Hazel. Thank you for your time. Family, thank you for your time. And again, like, share, subscribe, and again, invest in self. You know, again, rise to the occasion. Always do your best, and that'll be great. And we will see you all later. And before we leave, and Miss Hazel, we always do the 1, 2, 3 piece. I know they can't see you, but we do the 1, 2, 3 piece, and then we chime out. So, got it.
1, 2, 3, peace.